Hello, Warren, and welcome to a very cold podcast day. This week we are still talking about habits, and this is part 2 of the habits series. And today we talked about starting. This is a big deal because very few of us actually are consistent with habits, but some people struggle with the starting part. How important is it?
Anela, thank you. So this, as I said last week, is a really exciting series and one that has impacted my life, and I honestly believe that it has the potential to impact many lives. So the fact that that we can take this within a Christian context, to me, is mind-blowing. So it takes a really good thing and it makes it a God thing. So how important is it to start habits? It's a godly thing. How difficult is it to start? Very difficult. Yet there's this beautiful part where almost like it's a tipping point. So if you're able to get to you do the hard work and it's a struggle, but when you get to that tipping point, it's sort of like it clicks, and all of a sudden adding healthy habits to your life is not as difficult anymore, because you've got what authors would call like a keystone habit. It's the one that holds all the others together. So because you're able to do that consistently, you've changed your identity, you formed a new identity to say, but I am a person who can do good things. I do have healthy habits. I am disciplined. I am whatever. Then that's what you start doing and becoming. So it's very important to start, and it's crucial to being able to change those areas.
One of the key things that keeps popping from the series so far is the story of systems. So systems. And you and I are very big on systems. Warren, the question now is, what are some of the basic systems we can put in place to honor God with our habits?
And things that we didn't really touch on within the sermon. This is a massive topic. So guys have written like 300-page books on this. So we're not going to get it all into a 3-week series of 30 minutes apiece. But part of building those systems and the importance of those systems is the accountability aspect of it. So you've heard this said, so your circle of friends is what's going to influence you. So bad company corrupts good character. So if you want to better who you are, make sure that you've surrounded yourself with better people. And now that sounds terrible, but it's a reality, and again, it's a godly principle. So when we start speaking about those systems, you're going to put those systems in place, but you want to make yourself accountable. So the people around you, if they care about your systems, they're going to support you. If they don't care about those systems, then they're going to detract from it, and they're going to break those systems down. And your very systems that you're trying to put in place are then going to be a struggle. So one very important thing about systems is the environment that you are in. And sometimes before you can implement a system that's going to work for you, you might need to address some environmental issues. If you have a circle of influence that is continually negative, so if you want to exercise, but everybody around you is not interested in exercise, so they will continually make plans and do things to sabotage you trying to exercise, then you have to first address that and say, I'm not saying cut them out. Sometimes it's family, sometimes it's really close friends. So I'm not saying just throw them away, because you might have walked a really long road with them, especially if they're family. But what you do need to do is you need to limit their influence and their input, which is often around time. So limit the time that you spend with them, and rather spend time with people that are interested in exercising, because it's going to be a lot easier to implement your system. Start small. Always make it small, really small, and make it enjoyable. So as much as possible, something that you won't mind doing. Reward yourself for being consistent. It helps. Track. So make sure that you're keeping a record of it. And I love this one. Make it frictionless. As easy as possible to do it. So whatever system you're trying to create, put those little steps in so that it's not effort to try and actually get it done. Everything that you needs to be right there. And we spoke about it. So we spoke about the systems that we need to create and how we want to go about that, and all the different things that we need to do.
Love it. I love it so much that this morning you mentioned something which I found to be, I think we all found to be profound, that we all have systems. All of us have systems, just that systems that are designated towards our bad habits. And the whole idea of having a system is for you to be able to gravitate towards the good habits. And we want to have good habits, Warren, but how do we even start with the good habits?
I think identifying it, firstly, is the key to it. And that's normally not a difficult process, because there are always things that you want to do and things that you want to change. So once you can identify it, you then want to be able, so that's acknowledging it, then you want to address it. So acknowledging it is just, that's admitting that it is there. But what are you actually going to do? So if you address it, it means I'm taking action. So now I'm serious. I don't want this to be like this anymore. I want a healthy habit. I want a good habit. So I'm then going to do something about it. I'm going to give time. Ask people. Because you know what's amazing? The people around you probably know a lot more than what you think. And probably the people that you think don't really know. Like, I love speaking to my kids. So when I speak to my children and I ask them about us as parents, they give me the most magnificent insight as to how we do things that I'm not even aware of, because they just see it from a different perspective. So if you ask people around you, and like I say, sometimes just extend that. Don't ask the same people all the time. Say, the things that I do, what do you notice? If there was an area that I should work on, what do you think it should be? Or what area do you think I'm doing well? Or just those basic questions. It's really going to help for you to start finding, what is it that I need? What small thing can I start that's going to help me become the person that I want to be and that God wants me to be?
Amazing. Well, and you mentioned other traits as well this morning, like making it obvious and making it easy. Could you elaborate just on those two for us, please?
So that's all about reducing the friction. So by making it obvious, it's in front of you, and the thing that you see is the thing that you're going to do more than likely. Also making it easy so that it's less effort. I love also making the reward. So make sure that you are going to get something positive out of it, because often these good things that we want to do, it's hard work and it's effort, and we've tried before and we've failed. So be aware of that. Don't pretend. Don't be all like superhero and say, but this time I'm going to be so strong and willpower and mind power and whatever. Just admit I'm weak, and I'd rather put a system in place that's strong. So relying on a strong system is not weakness. To me, that's wisdom, because it's going to get you to where you need to be. So focus on those things, put the effort in there, and the result is going to come.
Fantastic. You touched on this, Warren, just a little, but I'd love just for the last question to just put emphasis on that. How is a means to an end a critical mental model?
So what we do is we focus on, I want that next step. And I'm always going to do whatever's necessary to get me to that. What we don't realize, and this is a cycle, it's a cycle that repeats itself all the time. When I achieve whatever it is that I've set out to achieve, I reach that goal, I then don't find the satisfaction and the contentment and everything that it was supposed to be. I then have to go to the next step. So I am continually living in a cycle of being discontent. When I get there, but now I'm here, and it's not everything that I thought it would be, but now what's the next big thing? And you spend your whole life chasing after those things. And that's not how God intends us to live. So He wants us, instead of looking at the means as to how am I going to get, and I have to chase, look at the end and say, but who do I want to be? And when you can nail that down, and I use nail that down on purpose, because that takes us to the main character, who is the Lord, who literally came here so that He could be nailed to a cross. And that's something you can't just ignore. So when you nail down and you say, but hang on, what is the ultimate purpose of my life? It's to glorify God and to be more Christ-like. So whatever I want to do, let that be the end. Now, how do I get there? How do I become more Christ-like? Do I need to be more disciplined? Maybe you do. Do I need to be more organized? Sure. Do I need to be healthier physically? Maybe you do, because your body is the temple of God that He has given. He wants you to look after it. Do I need to be more financially wise? Maybe you do, because God has entrusted you with that, and He's asking, what are you doing with it? Do I need to grow in my thinking? Maybe you do, because God is a creative God, and He wants us to continually learn and to grow. Do I need to spend more time with my loved ones? Maybe you do, because that's where God places the emphasis. So what are the things that I'm going to do that are going to make me more Christ-like? And then, what are the small steps that I can take that are going to get me there? You build, and it's the most beautiful thing. You build one on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other, and it becomes exponential. And before you know it, that little bit of work that you've been doing, it compounds and it adds up. So James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits that we've been referring to, he speaks about just get 1% better every day. That's it. It's not a lot. It's not a huge amount of effort. But after 300 days, what percentage is that? It's 300% better. What we want to do is we want to see 50% improvement in a week. And when we don't see it, then we're disappointed. Fast forward to 300 days. How much improvement have you then got? You're probably minus 50 because now you are struggling. So just 1% better. Unfortunately, the opposite is also true. If you get 1% worse every day, in 50 days, it's not going to be a pretty picture, and in 300, even worse. So that's why I mentioned this morning in the service about the Creative Life Planner, and we'll have some links for those who would like to get it. And beautiful to be able to track. And you can say, okay, so this month, did I achieve what I wanted to? Did I reach the goals? Am I improving in this area? So I can keep track of it and work through systematically all of those different areas. Very practical tool, and I love that. I love being able to give practical tools, especially when our own congregants are designing them, for us to be able to track, make a difference, and put those systems in place. And ultimately, to glorify the Lord with our lives.